There was nothing underneath that chunky sweater. Nothing. Oh no.
My eyes! The plates does nothing!
Hello friends, trace amounts of science, promise, swearsies, it's just a fact. We're into some r/FatPeopleStories today because I missed it. We got Retail Whale out of the way, Hamthrax, Moby Vic. I'm munching on these sagas. Once you pop, it's hard to stop, you know? So let's go ahead and get on into this thing. Thanks so much for being here. Should be a good one. The Little Moon Saga, Prologue. Wow, we get a prologue and everything. Disclaimer, I'm not the author of this story. It was originally posted on a Chinese forum called Qianya by Rongrong. I'm simply translating the story as it's very famous among the Chinese internet community, and I would like to share it with more people. Well, why not? We did the Denko Saga too. That was a creeper from Japan. This time, fat people in China.
Hello? You order Chinese food? Oh, you fat fuck.
I'll try my best to follow the original phrasing of the author, but I might change some things around to make them easier to understand. This is the first time I've ever done this, and English is my second language, so please bear with me. Post date, 5th of October, 2010. First of all, happy Chinese National Day to everyone. Although my National Day holiday has been truly tragic because of a certain individual, the past 2 days have been completely unforgettable for me. I will tell you a story that will make your jaws drop. It is not fiction. It is not exaggeration. It is 100% true. If I don't tell this story, I am certain that I will die by vomiting blood from the sheer pressure of holding it in. Yeah, you paint a picture there. I'm not sure if my writing skills will be able to recreate this series of events in all its full glory, because I admit, no matter how hard I try, words will fail to describe the amount of shock I felt witnessing everything with my own eyes. Allow me to have a sip of my drink as we begin. Background information. Little Moon. She likes others calling her by this nickname. Oh, now there's some subtext there, Little Moon. I guess she's just leaning in. You can't hurt me if I make the joke first. 22 female. Height is around 150 centimeters. That's 4'11". Weight around 80 kilograms, 176 pounds. At least according to herself. I mean, 4'11", she is, small. She's spherical. Her and Gubbins might have something in common.
Oh, go screw, Chief. Gubbins small but mighty. Little Moon is flabby mammoth tits. Don't make that comparison again.
I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean to do that to you. You're two different builds, that's for sure. Her relationship to me was that we were high school classmates. We shared memories of our fleeting youth. My name is Rong, 22 female. I'm working in Shanghai. Little Moon wanted to attend the Shanghai Expo during the Chinese National Day holidays with her new boyfriend. As her mom is good friends with my mom, she wanted me to take care of them during their stay. Oh, great. Social contract. Out of nowhere, I received a call from my mom, who said, with overflowing emotion, "Please take good care of them, Rong. I want them to have fun." I reluctantly agreed to be their tour guide, as it was the 1st of October, and I had 7 days off. Little Moon called me not long after. She sounded polite and mature, like a real grown-up. I was actually excited back then, as I rarely got visitors. I often feel alone in Shanghai, so I really look forward to having someone from my hometown visiting. Oh, that's nice. It sounds like it could be a nice thing. Won't this be a nice saga? I'm sure it'll be super nice. On the 2nd of October, Little Moon called me again, saying that she'll arrive on the 3rd around lunchtime, but she hadn't booked a hotel room yet, so she needs my help. Although she did have a few requests, under 150 won, that's 24 USD, which is pretty low, even by Chinese standards. At least 3 stars, includes a free breakfast, and preferably close to the expo grounds. I was hesitant. During the Expo and National Day holiday, most of the hotels are booked full, well in advance. With her requests, it's basically mission impossible. So I said to her, "Well, what if you stay at my rental house?" I have 2 bedrooms, so you guys could just take the other room. Little Moon responded in a voice that was so sickly sweet that it was practically oozing sugar syrup.
No, I can't, I'm bringing my boyfriend. It's late at night. It's probably going to keep you awake.
Meta note from the author, yeah, it's not tee-hee. Apparently this special breed of ham planet laughed in ho-ho-ho. Like the Jolly Green Giant, only they don't know what the fuck that is in China.
Green Giant, goodness at its best. Ho, ho, ho.
As I'm typing this, I can still feel the way her words made my skin crawl. I'm covered in goosebumps. However, the only thing I replied to her at the time was, I'll try my best to figure it out for you. And it was the beginning of this nightmare. Well, I ain't got shit to say about that. All you've done is whet my appetite. Let's get into Chapter 1. The Little Moon Saga, Chapter 1. We could probably drop the prologue, maybe. Nah, it's pretty good, though. As soon as I hung up the phone, my head was spinning. Eventually, I was able to book a hotel close to the Sichuan Underground Rail Station, which is the stop you get off at to go to the expo. 2 stars, free breakfast, price is 188 won. It was a little bit over Little Moon's budget, but I don't know, best I could do. I know at least I would be happy with it. Oh my. I've come to realize that, yeah, I would be happy with a lot of things that other people wouldn't. I'm just like, it's fine. We're like, how do you live like this? I don't know, man. Piss in the bottle, poop in the bucket.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the f***?
No. It never got that bad. But my old apartment I lived in with Ramtide, that was fucking depressing. Whatever, I'm off topic anyway. I called Little Moon and told her about all this. If she doesn't like it, maybe she could change it once she gets here. She sounded okay with it over the phone, so at least we're all set. The next morning, I got up early to go to the interstate train station to pick her up. I told her explicitly that I would be waiting by the front gate. The train was supposed to arrive by 10:30 a.m. However, I waited until 11:10, and Little Moon was nowhere to be seen. She wasn't picking up my calls or answering my texts either. I was genuinely worried that she might have gotten into some sort of trouble. Yeah, she might have gotten shanghaied in Shanghai. She's probably too fat for like old classic Shanghai, but I don't know, she could have got stuck in one of them trap doors or something. I've never been to China. Little Moon eventually called me at 11:15, asking casually where I was. I said, "Where am I supposed to be? I'm waiting at the train station exit for you, of course." And she said unhurriedly,
"Oh, no wonder I didn't see you. I took a taxi to the hotel with my dearest. We know where it is."
I stood there, perfectly still, with my phone in my hand, feeling as if I had been struck by lightning. Fine. I'll let her be. She's a guest, after all. I quickly hailed a taxi, heading down to their hotel. I arrived at the hotel around 12:20. You might ask why I remember the time so precisely. Well, it's because the horrors of these 2 nightmarish days has been etched into my memory. Every single detail ingrained onto my sense of existence. As I got off the taxi, I immediately saw a man and a woman waiting for me outside. How should I describe Little Moon? Well, she was round in high school, and now she's very round. She didn't change all that much, except for increased amounts of pimples on her face. The young man standing beside her looked quite normal. I'll call him Wilson. He appeared to be cleanly dressed and slightly bookish, but introverted. As soon as Little Moon saw me, she started to shoot daggers at me with her eyes as she squealed out a long-winded complaint.
"You are so terrible. Don't you know I've been waiting for you for ages? I swear to God, I I absolutely hate you right now. I have blisters on my feet.
I swallowed my anger and said as calmly as possible, I just got here from the train station. Please give me some time to catch my breath. Let's go inside first. As we were checking in, Little Moon spotted the stars on the hotel sign and excitedly exclaimed,
Ooh, look at this. It's a 5-star hotel. That's great. I'm so happy.
I looked at the sign and said with a sigh, it's 2 stars. The other ones are just part of the hotel's logo design. The receptionist then asked for our ID, which is a part of the check-in process, and I was about to pull it out of my pocket as Little Moon began yelling,
How's that even necessary? Ugh! It's so unbelievable. You see a man and 2 women, and you think we're just gonna have a threes-up in here, don't you? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah, what a day to have ears.
My ears burn!
I ignored her, and I gave my ID to the receptionist. She tried to scan it, but it didn't go through at first. Upon seeing this, Little Moon became increasingly belligerent.
Oh, is she a criminal on the run? How come her ID won't be scanned? Since when were you wanted by the police? I don't want to sleep in the same room with you now. I'm so scared.
The receptionist kept her composure and only frowned. Yes, as we all did. Our IDs were all successfully scanned, and she began handing out breakfast vouchers. Little Moon started yelling yet again, as if she had never heard of such a thing as an indoor voice.
How come we only get 2 vouchers each? It's not enough for us. Not enough. Where's the buffet? Can we eat what we want? Will we be able to get full? Blah, 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 blah.
I admired the receptionist's patience as she explained to Little Moon that a buffet is an unlimited meal, and you'll be able to eat whatever you want until you're full. Something tells me that breakfast buffet is going to get really disgusting. Little Moon instantly smiled with contentment, her round face flushing with excitement like a ripe tomato. Just as we were about to get into the lift, Little Moon lifted the dish of free candies on the reception desk with the speed of lightning, unzipped her backpack, and poured all of the candy into it without any sort of shame. She casually discarded the plate aside and mumbled under her breath,
What kind of 5-star hotel is this? They haven't even got a porter to help with our heavy luggage.
Wilson and I followed her into the lift in stunned silence. How new is Wilson? We don't know anything about him. He's been taking this ride for how long? Too goddamn long. A day is too long to be around this person. Oh, she certainly is good and hateable, I'll tell you that.
Little Moon no need hotel, she need padded cave and long nap. Gubbins nothing like candy-stealing fat monster. Gubbins.
Oh my god. You're gonna hold that over my head forever, aren't you? I said I'm sorry, alright? Not that we agreed already. Let's get into chapter 2, because, yeah, I'm enjoying this one pretty good. The Little Moon Saga, Chapter 2. Little Moon continued her endless tirade of complaining inside the list.
Why is it so hot in Shanghai? Oh, it's so hot. It's making me sweat non-stop.
Shut your stupid ass up.
Yeah, big fat doesn't help either. She playfully punched her boyfriend Wilson on the back. The latter stood in stoic silence as she rambled on like a broken record.
Why?
I gave Little Moon's attire a closer look. A sweater? A sweater? In this weather? Are you serious? I mean, she's ashamed of her body, so she's trying to cover it up. But yeah, then you don't really get to complain about being hot and sweaty. It's called a sweater, for fuck's sake. I had the misfortune of standing close to her, and therefore I inspected her with morbid curiosity. She wore a thick sweater that was clearly more suitable for winter. It was long. It had a high collar. The knitted material clung tightly to her globular body. On her legs were a pair of blue jeans. The inner sides had matching holes, split from repeated chafing of her massive thighs. I knew because as she raised her legs to kick Wilson out of feigned annoyance, I caught a glimpse of her purple underwear. Oh, this is just... wow. Tell me no more, please, for fuck's sake. Additionally, she had on a pair of bright red patent heels that were at least 15 centimeters high. Her overall appearance resembled a giant ball standing atop a drawing compass. Why would I describe Little Moon's attire in such painstaking detail? Well, it's because it has everything to do with the first event that utterly shook me to my core. When we got back to the room, I sat down immediately and sent a text message to Little Moon's mother, telling her that I had picked them up without any trouble. Lies!
Every morning when I wake up, I say everything's gonna be okay, but I'm lying.
Wilson arranged our suitcases neatly without saying a word. And what is our dear Little Moon doing? I still shudder, remembering that horrifying scene. Let me quickly take a deep breath. She firstly began yelling, or I don't know, we might call that her normal volume, as I've never really heard her speaking in a voice lower than 100 decibels.
Do they have air conditioning in here?
Then she began to look for rubbers everywhere. Yeah, you gotta have some Jimmy hats. You don't want to plant no seeds on the Little Moon, do you? It's bad soil, no oxygen. She then realized that this hotel did not provide any sort of prophylactic, and she cursed.
These 5-star hotels are stupid. They don't even have rubbers.
My heart began to hurt at that moment. If I had balls, they'd probably hurt so much that they'd retract into my body, but I don't, so my heart took all the pain. Yeah, that's how I remain tough. All my pain is split between my heart and my balls. Little Moon did something that just broke my faith in humanity. She began stripping. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Why are you taking your pants off? What are you doing?
She stripped in full view of me and Wilson. Oh, my God. She's really trying to make this thing happen. Alluding to a threes up earlier? Jesus. Hit her in the face with some bear mace and get out of there. Despite the fact I hadn't seen her in years, and she had only known Wilson for a couple of days, she stripped. Wilson and I were completely flabbergasted. My eyes were gonna pop right out of their sockets. There was nothing underneath that chunky sweater. Nothing. Oh no. Oh no!
My eyes! The bleach does nothing!
What about the purple underwear? The smallest bit of grace. Thank God for that fabric! She wore no bra. Her massive chest sagged all the way down to her stomach like a pair of half-deflated balloons. Oh no. Our brains start to short circuit as she continued. Articles of clothing came off, one after another, including her underpants, until she was wearing nothing but her high heels. I mean, what was she wearing beside the chunky sweater and the underpants? You know what? It's fine. I don't actually need any answers. What I need right now is a lobotomy. She was somehow able to get out of her jeans without taking off her heels, which admittedly is an impressive feat in itself. Yeah, big girl like that, Jesus. It's not her first rodeo, I'd think. At the same time, a series of commentaries were going through my poor, fried brain. They consisted of broken phrases that cried out for help. Call police, ambulance, psychiatric hospital, it's a crime! Wilson quickly sat down in the chair next to me. No doubt his legs weren't able to support himself. We were tongue-tied as Little Moon began to flaunt her body in all of its blubbery glory. We were unwilling audiences to this stomach-churning striptease performance. Please turn and run. I can't. Quick description of the hotel room layout. The bed was facing a TV. To the right side of the TV was a small table, and the 2 chairs that Wilson and I currently sat in. Little Moon was on the bed, naked as the day she was born, save for her shiny red high heels, her rolls of fat glistening with sweat. She raised her arms to take off her hair tie, and we were cursed with the view of dark armpit hair, which matched her hairy bush down under. Oh no. Oh no, please no!
It's very 70s of you.
I hurriedly took off my glasses. Yes, I can blind myself. I pretended to wipe my glasses with my sleeves in a vain attempt to blur this shocking scenery. My eyes hurt, my heart hurt, my stomach hurt. I tried to call Little Moon back to her senses. It's nearly 1 o'clock. How about you put your clothes back on and we can go to the City God Temple, which is a popular tourist spot. Little Moon ignored me completely. She fixed her gaze at her silent boyfriend, like a predator staring down its prey. I mean, if the trance is broken for you, OP, now might be the time to leave. She stood up and began walking towards him, each step a thunderclap that vibrated my shooken heart. Is something NSFW about to happen? Should I stop her? Get the hell out of here? Call a taxi and go straight back home? I wouldn't suggest trying to stop her. Getting in her way when she has that initial inertia, that's a mistake. Just leave. Going back home is a great option too. How long's the expo? I don't think I could do this. As my conscience struggled, Little Moon suddenly leapt up with surprising agility and bounced back into the bed like a fish out of water. Gravity, air resistance, all of those feeble rules of physics were brought down to their knees by Little Moon's planetary power. She began to toss and turn on the bed, rolling around as if she were a piece of fatty meatball sizzling in a pan as she moaned,
"Oh, yeah! My dearest, my feet hurt, oh! They hurt so much, it's unbearable!"
Then she laid down on the bed, raising her legs as gracefully as an elephant pretending to be a ballerina, and started to kick towards Wilson's general direction. She kicked and kicked and kicked, and during her repeated kicks, I unsurprisingly saw her private parts on full display. Oh, excuse me, I need to go throw up now. I don't like this. Can somebody hit me with the fucking MIB neuralizer thing? I don't want to remember any of this.
It won't let you remember.
Sorry.
Wilson broke the awkward silence. Wiping down imaginary sweat from his temple, he said in a half-serious, half-joking way, "If you continue to be like this, then I'm gonna leave." I inwardly gave him a seal of approval as I thought, that's right, allowing her to act like this is a crime in itself. However, Little Moon's response was totally unexpected. She roared in rage. She screamed like a banshee as she furiously wiped tears and snot from her face.
How dare you not care about my foot injury? You don't love me anymore. You're an unfaithful douchebag. You broke your promise to me.
What, did I rub your fucking ham hocks? I guess I'll get to it. Just give me a minute. The air was stagnant. I felt like a cartoon character with a crow circling around my head, cawing for my imminent demise. Wilson seemed like he finally had enough. He had a hardened expression on his face as he stood up and said firmly, "Where'd you put my wallet? Give it to me. I'm going home." My heart sank. If Wilson left, then I'd have to deal with this sorry excuse for a human being by myself. I would rather die than to accept such a fate. Suddenly, Little Moon smiled. Yeah, she smiled, like a Sichuan opera performer, The anger instantly disappeared from her face as if it had never existed in the first place. That is deeply unsettling.
I can't carry on with that face. Look at it, I'm going to get nightmares with that face.
This is an unbalanced individual we're dealing with here. If I wasn't in such a horrifying situation, I would have almost applauded her. Translator's note, story took place in Shanghai in early October. On average, the temperature at the time could reach 25 Celsius, 77 Fahrenheit at its hottest, which is not really that hot. I guess with humidity maybe, but not really still. I'm used to California hot, Philippines hot. Also, face changing is a part of the Sichuan opera performance. The performers wear vividly colored masks, which can change from one face to another almost instantaneously with a swipe of a fan, a movement of the head, or a wave of the hand. Which is a pretty cool thing to see. I think I watched a documentary on that once upon a time. I guess if I could still remember the documentary about the Sichuan dancers, then they didn't neuralize me deep enough. Can I get it again? One more time, MIB? Thanks so much.
I won't let you remember.
Sorry.
Gubbins no strip in front of tribe, not even when infected with glitter plague. Gubbins wear loincloth of modesty and shame. Gubbins nothing like forbidden flashing she-beast. Gubbins.
Where is the loincloth? And again, I can't believe we're still going on about this shit. I apologized, okay? I shouldn't have compared the two. They might look similar, although in different proportions, but very different personality types. Very different outlooks on life. I guess we'll see some more of this unrepentant mess as we move into chapter number 3. The Little Moon Saga, chapter 3. Sorry for the lengthy wait, everyone. It was my birthday week. Plus, lockdown just ended, so I got a bit too indulgent with celebration. Haha. But here I am, back with a new chapter for the misadventures of Little Moon and Co. Why was poor Wilson so tolerant of Little Moon's shenanigans? I didn't find out the reason until later, but it was all because of their parents meddling. You see, Wilson's parents and Little Moon's parents knew each other. The sort of relationship that was little more than acquaintances, but they fancied themselves being closer. Oh, it's a political marriage between two lower middle class families. I guess that happens too. Like a marriage between the Hatfield and the McCoys or something. Little Moon's parents happened to get 2 tickets to the Shanghai World Expo, so they arranged their unsuspecting children to meet there and get to know each other. Their parents came to this mutual decision on the 1st of October and told my mom of their plans on the same night. Little Moon called me on the 2nd to ask, read demand, me to book a hotel room, and they came to Shanghai on the 3rd. Wilson had only met Little Moon a grand total of 2 times. After a few unsuccessful relationships, Wilson found himself single at the ripe old age of 29 and being pressured into a speedy marriage. Yeah, not with this one though, please. You are not young anymore, his mother reminded him as she sent him off to Shanghai with Little Moon. You're really just selling your son up the river. I don't care if you go out there and birth a bunch of piglets. You gotta give me something. Come on, Ma. Not this one, please. Sadly, Wilson and his mother were victims in this scammy attempt at an arranged marriage. Little Moon's mother desperately wanted to marry her daughter off, as Little Moon had also experienced a series of failed relationships. Gosh, I wonder why. She's had enough of her daughter's teary claims of being cruelly abandoned by nasty men, and clung to Wilson and his parents like a drowning person holding onto a piece of driftwood. She willingly provided the expo tickets for free in the hopes of successful matchmaking. If fucking fingers crossed, I don't know. And I, the tragic protagonist, just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and got caught in the crossfire of this mess. Are you allowed to back out? Just be like, I don't want to do it, I'm going home? Or do they report you and then your social credit score drops? Like, I don't know how the social contract works in China. I know they eat oil out of the sewer and rocks off the ground, so it doesn't look like things are going great. But hell, what do I know? Oh, to think my National Day holiday would have been so amazing if only I just didn't get involved. Yeah, how easy is that? Okay, end the flashback. We are once again in the hotel room, and the time is around 2 p.m. on the 3rd of October. As Wilson stood up and expressed his displeasure, Little Moon smiled. She bounced up from the bed and made her way toward the bathroom, still buck naked. As we watched helplessly, she turned her head and gave us a smug grin.
You know I was only joking. Anyway, this girl needs to shower now.
Then she waddled into the bathroom with all the grace of a sack of potatoes. Hips swinging, seductively, and her fat buttocks still bearing red marks from her too tight briefs. Oh man, she really has this vision of herself in her head. Problem is, it's not working for anybody else. Wilson and I stared at each other in amazement, as we had never witnessed such a sudden, speedy mood change in our lives. If she had been an actress, she would have put Leonardo DiCaprio to shame. We turned our eyes into the direction of the bathroom, just as a single red heel was flung out the door, accompanied with intense moaning, straight from an R-rated movie.
Ooh, oh, ha!
I was very tempted to throw the TV remote at the source of the disturbing noises. Another red heel flew out, joining its mate on the floor. I suddenly came to the realization, is this Little Moon's idea of seduction? As close as it gets, I guess. After the display on the hotel bed, I'm not sure what to think anymore. I turned my head and gave poor Wilson a look of sympathy. The room was gloomy. Although I couldn't quite read the complicated expression on his face, I could sense a solidifying aura of cold forlornness radiating from his body. He said softly, "I've only known her for 2 days." Yep, she's a slut. Don't put a ring on it. I'm gonna tell you that much right now.
Was the whore of charm school. A slutacious whore.
Just pro tip from me to you, friend to friend, guy to guy. Don't fucking do it. Do whatever you do, do not do it, okay? He's not gonna do it. He's no dummy. She just got off her birth control and hoping that he'll fall for the trap, you know? Trying to baby trap him right now in this scuzzy 2-star hotel bedroom. Anytime we go stay at a Motel 6, we think about how our first child was conceived. And yeah, romantic. Love it.
Wilson walk into mating trap laid by sneaky elders, now stuck with howling, jiggling moon beast in cursed hotel cave. May Cave Jesus grant him the strength to make it out alive. Gubbins.
Cave Jesus? Is that different from our Jesus? It's just, yeah, from the before times. You've heard of BC? Well, this is BBC. You know what? Never mind. We're not gonna go there. Probably got time to get one more in here. Okay, join me over. We'll get chapter 4 out of the way. The Little Moon Saga, Chapter 4. Warning, slightly NSFW. Just so you know, if you're listening on Spreaker or iTunes or something, don't put it on the speakers at work. This is your warning right now. That mother and her child that are in your shop right now are going to be disgusted later on. Okay, here we go. If you think the story so far has been pretty disgusting, my friends, trust me, you would not be able to handle what comes after. It is but a small appetizer to the gluttonous main meal that follows suit. I don't know if I'm ready, honestly. This is pretty horrible already. My imagination paled in comparison to Little Moon's wild antics. My own ignorant mind couldn't have made up something, like, even if I had wanted to. After meeting Little Moon, it felt as if I had lived my previous 22 years of life for nothing at all. Relatable. They say it takes all kinds of people to make a world, but I had to say the creation of this unpredictable being was never in God's original plan. Yeah, it just sort of happened. Why'd it happen? Red Die 40, I don't know. If you attempt to describe Little Moon with any word in the dictionary, it would have been vain. We can cut in a Carly Simon song here. You're so vain.
You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain.
Upon encountering her, you will soon realize that in her presence, other problems in your life would be but a drizzle against an entire shitstorm. The economy, the rising real estate prices, your insufferable mother-in-law, all of those would be nothing in comparison to Little Moon. Yeah, that's just the power of gravity or something. The world is actually incredibly peaceful, if only you can manage not to exist in her general vicinity. I agree with that. I'm feeling very peaceful. Turning our camera back to the hotel room, Little Moon was in the bathroom taking a shower, and we finally had a moment of quiet. I breathed out a sigh of relief and turned on the TV to ease the tension in the room. Wilson pulled out a cigarette and asked politely if I minded. I gestured him to go ahead, and he immediately lit it and took a long drag. Who's smoking in hotel rooms? High five, China. Love that shit as a smoker, but I'm sure everybody else hates it. They still do it in the Philippines. At least some places. Smoking or non-smoking? Yes, I'd like to sleep on the cancer bed, please. Ah, shit. Okay. I imagined Wilson to be as bewildered as I was. His last 30 years on Earth had obviously not prepared him for all of this. The sense of responsibility, when twisted with anger and humiliation, is enough to torture him until he breaks down. Obviously, I was unlucky enough to be their host for the next few days, but at least after that, I'd be able to say goodbye and go home. On the other hand, I feel sorry for poor Wilson, who has to continue to deal with this piece of work for God knows how long. So I was watching TV and Wilson was smoking and Little Moon was supposed to be in the bathroom. Suddenly, she burst out of the bathroom door. Still nude, dripping with water, she sprinted all the way across the room, squatted down, and began to fumble through her luggage. Just ask somebody to bring you a towel.
How can I use the shampoo that the hotel provided? They're low quality and would surely ruin my skin, she said loudly to herself as she threw the contents of the bag all around her. Trust me, Pizza Face, your skin ain't nothing to write home about, alright? It might make it worse, though, I don't know. But does she have to make a mess? Does she have to be a disaster everywhere she goes? I guess she does. It's like a force of nature. She was crouched on the ground right next to Wilson, shaking her assets like two lumpy bags of wet sand.
It feels like a bag of sand.
We got a saying here in America that you might appreciate. It's 2 fried eggs hanging off a nail. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody likes to see that. Jesus. Little Moon glanced sideways at Wilson with disdain.
I'm a beautiful woman, and beautiful women always deserve the best.
I felt like I'd been struck by lightning again. Wilson's cigarette was nearly finished, but he concentrated so hard to make it look like he was still smoking it, just so he wouldn't have to look at Little Moon. I will smoke this filter down all the way, goddammit. Don't make me do it. Little Moon continued to rummage through her massive bag until she finally found what she was looking for. A family-sized bottle of shampoo with a pump attached, the sort that holds at least a liter of shampoo, and another equally big bottle of mystery liquid. And finally, a big banana. Wait, what? A banana? Oh no. Oh no. I know what the mystery liquid is. Oh no.
I don't like where this is going.
I will never be able to forget this memorable event, which occurred at a bit past 2 p.m. on the 3rd of October. I've seen all sorts of terrible things in all the years I've been on the internet. Even the most extreme, degenerate videos would barely get a reaction out of me. I have mastered the art of maintaining a strong heart and an iron stomach. It's a bit different in real life. And also it's somebody you know. My God! Can't! Killing me. But at this moment, I was shocked to the point that I almost suffered internal bleeding. Little Moon peeled the banana, and slowly pressed the banana skins against her big, droopy knockers, squeezing them firmly until the skins were tightly stuck on there. You see, as her breasts are so saggy, they're basically pointing downward toward the ground, nips at a 6 o'clock angle. Therefore, the banana skins are perfectly sandwiched between her boob flesh and her stomach fat. She's trying to bleach the darkened crevices. Oh my god, oh god! I was shocked. I was confused. I was horrified. I felt as if I'd been kidnapped by aliens and transported to another planet. Take me home, please. I mustered up the courage and questioned Little Moon with the utmost difficulty. Little Moon? What are you doing? Little Moon, seeing that she failed to get the attention of Wilson, huffed and then explained in a cutesy voice,
Duh, skincare. You clearly don't know anything about it. Can't you see? I have beautiful pink nips. If you use the banana method, you'll be able to keep it pink forever.
Hey, okay. Really, it's just an excuse for her to eat bananas, I think. She then looked at me and said firmly,
You have to try it when you get back home. It really would turn pink.
Okay, great. After that, she stood up, holding one bottle in each hand, banana skin still stuck atop her boobs, and sauntered back to the bathroom. With my mouth twitching violently, I suddenly realized the presence of another silent observer, Wilson, who hadn't made a single sound during this entire surreal exchange. I looked at him, and he stared right back at me, with a shell-shocked expression, burnt-out cigarette still trembling between his lips. He's trying his best, God bless him. Wilson finally spoke, his voice oddly calm. We're going home tomorrow. I apologize for all the trouble. I was moved to the point of tears by that promise. Tears! Hot tears! Flowing down my face. Wilson then asked, Is the KFC next door open 24 hours? I nodded slowly. At that moment, we were martyrs who shared the same pain in our hearts. Oh my god, are you guys totally shipping OP and Wilson now? I wonder if KFC was any good in China 4 years ago. I had KFC like maybe 7 years ago in the Philippines. It was terrible. I think I'm missing the entire point of the story. Nothing can shock me anymore. I'm just glad the banana thing didn't go where I'm pretty sure everybody thought it was going. How do you feel about this one, boy?
Gubbins say, Moon fall hard, but poor Wilson fall harder. Crushed by gravity, guilt, and glistening cheeks of doom. Gubbins. Also, KFC sucks.
Yeah, it does. But that's not going to stop Little Moon. I'm sure she's going to go to KFC and cause all sorts of ruckus in the next episode. I hope you join me for it. In the meantime, join us on Patreon and YouTube memberships. I'd appreciate that a whole heck of a lot. There's also Fourth Wall, Amazon affiliate, buried somewhere down in the description. I hope you check those out. I appreciate you. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.
Nani baka, nani baka, nani baka, nani baka, nani baka.
Gubbins sleep now, but dreams full of vengeance.